Hi, it's Dr. Laura Jaggett, and recently my car was broken into and my purse was stolen. This Mominar is part 2 of that story, what to do when your car has been vandalized. Here are the steps I took when it happened to me. Again, the first thing I'd like you to try to do is remain calm. Your first emotions are probably going to be negative, and that is totally understandable. But try to find your calm as quickly as you can. Take a deep breath. Tip number 1, remain calm. Clear your mind so you can think clearly. When I saw that my window was smashed, I stopped and looked around to make sure that my surroundings were safe. There were a lot of cars in the parking lot and a lot of people in the nearby park, and I knew I was not in danger. Tip number 2, always scan your surroundings when you notice something is not right. Now that it had happened, I took a deep breath and reminded myself that cars could be repaired and no one was hurt. Tip number 3, count your blessings. In my case, I did not call the police. It was broad daylight and I was in a very full parking lot. I decided this was not a 911 emergency and I would file a report later. If you feel that you want to call the police for any reason, do so. Tip number 4, decide if the police are needed. Unless it's a life-threatening emergency, don't call 911, but do call 311, the non-emergency line. I took pictures of the damage and the surrounding area before I left the scene. Tip number 5, photograph the damage from different angles. In my case, the entire window was inside the car, so there was no danger of it falling out onto the street. Also, I was only a couple of miles from my house, so I decided to drive home. Tip number 6, decide if the car is drivable. I went to the police station to file a report about the vandalism. A police report is important to file because it documents the crime. I ended up filing an insurance claim to repair the car, and this documentation showed that I was not trying to make a false claim. List the time and location of the crime, and try to list as much damage as you know of. When filling out the form, try to be as detailed but brief as possible. Tip number 7, when describing the crime, be concise. This is the time for bullet points. Make sure you list the time, location, and damage. Once a police report is filed, it will be assigned to a detective to start investigating. They'll call you to follow up, but if you don't hear from them, give them a call. Now about the damage to your car. Here are the choices you have to handle or not handle the repair. Depending on the damage, you can do nothing and just drive the car as is, fix it and pay out of pocket, or use your insurance. Tip number 8, decide if you want to fix your car. I have insurance, but I have a deductible and I have to pay the first $500 myself. So I got estimates to see how much it would cost to repair. If it was $500 or less, I was not going to open a claim. Every time your insurance company has to pay money out, you run the risk of your rates going up. The damage to my car ended up being $1,500, so I decided to use my insurance. I pay every month, and this is exactly what it's for. This can be a really uncomfortable and annoying situation, I know. But what's done is done, and I encourage you to get through it as gently as possible. And that's done by doing your best to focus on anything that went right, no matter how small. Be grateful about what went right. Talk about what went right. Write it down to remind yourself if you start to get bummed. And distract yourself when you can about other things in your life that are going well. This will all be resolved soon enough, and you'll be wiser for it in the long run. I hope this Mominar helped you get through a pretty crappy situation, but keep your chin up, keep positive, and we'll talk more in the next Mominar.